Silver has been used for centuries for natural human health and has proven to be an effective alternative as a defense against germs, bruises, bacteria, and disease. Mycronic silver technology is superior to other silver products and is specially formulated to work with your immune system for an affordable, natural health choice. Check out mychronicsilver.net today and see why customers are choosing Mycronic Silver, fast-acting and reliable. That's mychronicsilver.net.
Live, and we are back today on American Perspective right here with your host Noél Roberts, Patriot Mom 007 in Arizona. I was jumping on the set. So you guys, I hope you're having a great Friday. Hope your week was amazing so far. We have an awesome show today, although I do hear myself, Robert, in my ear, just letting you know. I'm not sure what's going on there, so maybe he will work on that for me. But anyway, as always in America, we have a very busy world around us, and lots happening. I do want to acknowledge before I go into the first couple of stories today, because we're not going to do a lot of news today. You can catch it everywhere else all day long. I've got a great guest, and we have so much to cover here in Arizona, so we're going to get going on that. But I do want to acknowledge the shooting. You know, we don't want to not acknowledge those who are just, I'm sure, struggling beyond belief. It's the most sad tragedies when these things happen. Somebody, as a mom with two boys, you know, they were school aged, they're grown now, but I just can't even really hardly imagine what these parents are going through to those young kids, 8 and 10, who were gunned down a couple of days ago in Minneapolis. So we just always want to acknowledge that, you know, this is the community that's rallying around them. We can only wish prayers. And I know Jen Psaki said prayers are not helpful. I'd like somebody to pull all the reels of her giving prayers to all the tragedies that happened throughout that administration. I'm surprised we haven't seen a complete loop of that from her podium. So prayers are always helpful. You know, whether you pray or not, whether you believe or not, prayers are helpful. And for those who need them most, we send them out and just hope that the community, the strength that you will find it, you know, going forward for your families, and can, you know, just regain some things back. There's just not a lot to say for that. And as a mom, it does choke me up. So the shooter, who was identified as a transgender, a male identifying as female. I mean, let's just be honest about that. All the minimization I heard yesterday on news conferences from the authorities over there in Minneapolis and from Ossoff over there, to say that has no role in any of this, when we see transgender after transgender after transgender being the shooters in all these instances the last few years. And the last few years is when they brought all of this to the kids' doorstep and told them that they could switch back and forth at their whim and then give them drugs to do so. Drugs change your makeup internally. They do it for us as adults on all the medications they prescribe. Imagine what that does to kids when you start pumping them full of drugs in their before, you know, teenage years, and what that looks like in their early 20s. So we do know that it was a problem. They say they don't know what the motivation was, except they have like a whole manifesto and videos and all this stuff. So let's just acknowledge what it is and maybe learn from it instead of pretending it didn't happen in that way. And then maybe we can start addressing these poor children that they've been harmed so much with their parents condoning this type of behavior. Mental health is a problem, and it does extend in this area as well. So I would just say, you know, please let's not gloss over the truth on this one, because these things have got to stop. And by the way, before I go into my next thing, I do want to say about the gun confiscation. They picked up 358-ish guns just off of the streets of DC in the last 2 weeks, over 1,200 arrests just in one city. So for those of you who are still poo-pooing President Trump's abilities to make everything better, including crime and getting guns off streets, Amy Klobuchar, I heard you the other day completely diss him, which is ridiculous. I mean, 400 guns in one city, okay? I don't know how anybody is disparaging his administration at this point, but again, acknowledgement of what's happening is half the battle. So everybody can we just acknowledge that things are going in the right direction in all the areas and just move on from there? And let's not all be Debbie Downers all the time on the other side. How about that? So that was me just sharing my feelings right now, which I don't usually do. But we did play, I always want to mention Jeff Adams' company, Mycronic Silver, you guys. I talk about it all the time. I am using it regularly. My kids are actually using it. If my kids are using it, I know it works. Clean products, healthy, great manufacturing. It's a clean manufacturing plant that he actually builds his own machines to make sure that everything's going good. Like everything's super regulated and colorless, odorless, tasteless. There's a supplement you can just drink right out of the bottle. I told you about the topical spray. We use it out here for sunburns. It really does work on all types of things on your skin, abrasions, and it's very helpful. So check out Mycronic Silver. Patriot Mom 007 will get you 10% off with his company, also with John Richardson, rncstore.com, cancer prevention. Check that out. And Nessa's Hemp, some really great product lines, maybe not all on the shelves at Walgreens or Walmart, but then you know they're probably better because they're real products with real ingredients and no fillers and no toxins and no chemicals. So that's kind of the way we want to go going forward. So with that, we will go right into our first story. We only have a couple today. There's a lot about what Trump is doing with cashless bail, reversing that ridiculousness, letting criminals out on the street without any consequences whatsoever, including financial, doesn't seem to be working in most of the bigger cities. And we have our first video is, oh gosh, Robert, I didn't switch it. I don't think for you. I'm sorry. Yes, I did switch it for you. Perfect. We're all in alignment today on Friday. I love that. So our first video is going to be from Tamika. She's a local store owner in Washington, D.C. She's been hit by crime more than once, like so many others there who are just trying to make a living and do their best in these big cities with no help from law enforcement because the leadership will not allow law enforcement to do their jobs these last few years. Well, President Trump is changing that, and she's going to tell us her thoughts on that so we can understand it from her point of view and really hear what's happening for those people. So let's roll with that one first, Robert.
My name is Tamika. The store has been vandalized before with a bunch of teens running in, and then one of the staff members got hurt and injured as well. And it kind of traumatized me a little bit. I didn't like it. It's kind of hurtful. Sometimes I'd be afraid to walk out this door, go to my car. People work hard for their business. Tired of kids looting. They're stealing every day. Even adults come here and steal. They walk beside the kids stuff in their pockets. What type of parenting you doing? Like I tell kids all the time, I get them free stuff all the time. I tell them, like, if you're hungry, I will feed you. There's no need to steal from me, you know? A lot of teens need to be dealt with and accountable for their actions because they know right from wrong. If their parents can't be accountable for them, the government needs to step in.
So that store owner is actually asking the government to step in just to help her earn a living and keep her store intact. She's giving things to these hoodlums that are probably underprivileged and need some help, but even still, they're tearing up her small business. And so we do have a president who is mindful of his constituents around the nation and helping the small business owners find a way past what the crime that has been allowed to fester in their cities is one of his missions. And he's tackling it aside of collecting guns and all the world peace. He's doing that too, by the way, if you didn't know. So a lot for President Trump to handle. And luckily he's hyper capable, more than anyone else we've ever seen probably in the White House in our history of a White House, actually. So we're going to hear now from our president, and this is on cashless bail to what Tamika was just talking about and the criminals that are being let out under the last administration, why that needs to stop. So let's hear from him right now.
One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was when it happened. Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months, we'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And I mean, they kill people and they get out. cashless bail, they thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C., and that we have the right to do through federalization.
Yeah, so let's put bail back in place. Let's put prisons back in business, and let's get criminals off the street. Super simple math. 1 + 1 = 2. Everybody stays safe. I don't see how that is a negative. So again, I always ask for feedback on my show, and a lot of you give me great feedback, which I always appreciate when it's polite, of course. I'm still waiting for somebody to give me feedback on where the negative parts of the administration are happening. Like I haven't heard anybody come up with any plausible reason that that is true, but I'm always willing to entertain a conversation. So if you guys know about the negative sides of the administration, please send me that other alternative thought so that I can see if I can understand what I am missing. I just haven't seen it yet for myself. So with that, you guys, let's just move forward, because that's what we're doing here in America. That's what our administration is doing. They're moving forward every single day for our benefit. And that's what we're going to do today, because we have an amazing guest that came into studio today. I'm so thankful and glad he's here. You will know him when he comes on. We are going to hear one more quick commercial for Freedom Academy, you guys. I sit on the school board. It's a charter school here in North Phoenix. We're back to basics. We're non-woke. We just signed a parent pledge our board put together a few days ago, a curriculum night, basically giving the power back to our parents, letting them know that we support them in all ways, and that if you bring your kids to Freedom Academy in Phoenix, that we're not going to cross over. And basically, we're going to follow the executive order that Trump put in place, meaning that boys are boys, girls are girls, and we are not going to allow for any gray area in that respect. So if you are looking for a great charter school, if you want to bring your kids somewhere K-8 that is kid-centric, academics first, and back to basics, go to freedomacademyaz.org, and you can always DM me. I'm happy as a board member to get you connected with our front desk. So let's hear and see what that looks like. Excellent. Now we're back for real, you guys. Welcome back to American Perspective. Halfway through the show, we're glad you caught up with us now. If you're on your lunch hour, or if you are going to watch this later, Patriot_Mom007, Facebook, YouTube, gosh, Rumble, and X is PMom007. You can also find us on Arizona Live. Robert, hit me with that again. Data. Thank you. On Facebook, please check into that channel. And with that, I would like to see if we could lead in, Robert, with number 3 for, yes, our next guest. Let's see who that is going to be. I think it was a surprise.
Here we are. All right, let's redo. Take 2. Full News Nation coming to you live, America Fest 2024. Charlie Kirk, they have done it again. This is just a quick intro. I don't know, I'm just playing around right now. But I think we're going, so we'll cut it. And here we go.
Do you remember that?
Is Patriot Mom 007 with Total News Nation. We're back with Billy Harfosh. He's a local talent here. He talks to some of, what would you say?
I say we interview the people.
That word
in the world.
My mind. That
in the world.
You took the word right out of my mind.
Okay, that was an ode to our. That's okay. That was we're struggling today with IT gremlins for sure. But anyway, that was an ode to my guest, Billy Harfosh, who's here in studio with me today. He's a fearless media personality known for powerful conversations with America's top celebrities and political figures. As host of Show Up Arizona, his voice reaches across the state of iHeartRadio and now from Star Worldwide Network Studios in Scottsdale, right here in Arizona. Billy gained national recognition interviewing President Donald Trump's family and key White House officials, and has welcomed stars like Eva Longoria, Shaquille O'Neal, Jake Paul, and so many others. The list is long. We're going to talk about that today. He's originally from New York, and Billy left his corporate career to live abroad and host Barcelona's #1 English radio show. Now calling Arizona's his home. He champions truth, freedom, and meaningful dialogue in State 48 and beyond throughout our nation. So we are going to welcome him today, if he will still be on with me. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't scare him away. My friend in Arizona, Billy Harfosh. Come on over, pop that chair around. Also interesting furniture circumstances today, but
we'll do it live.
Do what we'll
do it live.
This is live. You don't go live, do you?
No.
Is this why?
For obvious reasons. Here's your sign.
Right on.
There is something to doing things live.
Right on.
Yeah, I like it.
So, well, this was a definite live and learn day, but these things happen. So it is what it is. And we're so glad that you were hanging in there with us. I did want to add, thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for your patience.
Of course.
Thank you for driving over to my studio.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh.
This is great.
So I'm going to be sending him a thank you card later for the patience level for sure. Maybe a gift card in there, maybe a dinner card.
Okay.
Maybe a drinks. I owe you something.
Sounds
Anyway,
good.
lots going on in Arizona. I see Billy throughout the years. We met a few years ago here. I was barely in media. He was fully in media, and he has been always just gracious and kind to give me some of his time. He's really busy, as everyone is, and he's talking to some big people. And so I did want to ask you, you were with a smaller group here in Arizona, a local group, and working with JT Harris, right?
Mm-hmm.
A conservative circus
Mm-hmm.
And then you branched out on your own about a year and a half or so ago, found Dave Pratt Studios, right? Star Worldwide.
Yeah. It's wonderful. And, the truth is, and this is not to say anything bad about anybody I work with, that's still, part of my family, great people. I kind of got sick of the corporate BS, I mean, look at what you're doing here. You can talk about what you want. You have freedom of speech. And it's just the corporate BS, and then meetings about meetings. Just let me do my show. So now I'm down at Star Worldwide Networks with Dave Pratt, and I got a great team there, Rob and Robin, and just great people. And I can say what I want to say. Right. I can interview people who I want to interview. We can put your opinions out there. And that's what America's about.
Right.
It's about these colors and freedom of speech. And just corporate BS I'm done with it.
The nation, we like to support our nation. Some people ask me, oh, you just do this for your show. I'm always red, white, and blued out. My car had a flag on it. The only reason it's off, by the way, is because the flag ripped, and I can't have a ripped flag on my car. I'm going to redo that. But we want to support where we live, just like you see other countries. There's nothing wrong with supporting your country. The patriotism that they complain about is what makes our country great, and it makes all countries great. Everybody has their own patriotism lane, and it's just what it looks like here in America, which happens to be, thank God, the best colors, red, white, and blue. I mean, they are the nicest colors. Let's just be realistic about that. So I did want to talk. We have a lot in Arizona happening, as you guys know. Arizona's a hotbed all the time. We're one of the most important states in the nation, and we have been through a couple cycles now. Going into 26, it'll be no different. Let's start off the top with some local stuff, then we're going to go nationwide. Okay. Yeah? So we've got Hobbs. Governor Katie Hobbs has been here now for a few years. She's doing us no favors.
Well, she's been here, but she hasn't been on your show. And she hasn't been on my show.
And we did call her.
But she doesn't like to talk.
No, and we called her out. Actually, that was a clip earlier from Turning Point USA. I saw Billy there every year. In December, we have it coming up again with Charlie Kirk. It's America Fest here at the Phoenix Convention Center. You want to check it out. Tickets are already being sold online, tpusa.com. Check those out. But we actually invited her on air last year. I don't think you've heard from her.
No, she won't.
Ruben Gallego, have you heard from him?
No, of course not. Because the issue is, and I get it, they want to be controlled. The issue is they can go on mainstream media outlets because it's very controlled. Right. Their publicists, their people, their assistants can send them, here's a list of questions, and here's a list of topics we don't want to touch. For people like you and I, everything's on the table. We're about freedom of speech, open, honest conversation. And again, they won't do that. And I will say, I do think that Republicans do a lot better job. I've had on Kash Patel multiple times, Caroline Leavitt, people in the Trump family. Do you know, out of all those people, love them or hate them, not one time have they ever given me a note. Take this out. Don't talk about this. Don't bring up it. Not once.
That's it. And really, it's about not censorship, right? We don't want to give them a list of questions. The goal is just to have an open conversation so they can say whatever they want and not have it be scripted. It's not to get anything out of them other than the truth. honestly, and their actual opinion and thoughts. That's really where we're going with all the new media. And we have our old media here in Arizona. I don't listen to our local media. Sometimes I see it on TV, and I didn't understand. I've been here 27 years. I did not understand how slanted our media in Arizona was on our Channel 5s or our CBS. I did not even know that was a thing until a few years ago. And I heard they were injecting opinions behind the news stories. Yeah. And I was shocked to hear that.
That's true. But the good news is it's becoming less and less relevant. And platforms like this, I think in the next cycle are going to be even more relevant. I mean, look at Trump. What did he do? He went on podcasts, right? His son Barron told him, go on podcasts, right? Go on Rogan, go on Theo Vaughn, go on all these shows. And I think that's kind of what got him elected. That really helps because you're reaching millions of people.
And we know some independent media coverage is really just the wave of the future, like everything else that is new and good. And you guys have to branch out. I always say, if you hear what I have to say, if you like me, follow me, great. If you don't like what I have to say, just share what I have to say. Just hit the share button because somebody else may find a resource or information or education that they didn't know about. So it's really just about a collective community coming together and helping each other advance our thoughts, our opinions, and our knowledge base so that we can have a better world together. That's really the ultimate goal at the end of the day, no matter who you love or who you hate. It's about community, where you live and who you want to support. And we support you in your opinions. My American perspective, first generation here, I know better than anybody what it looks like for censorship across the other countries that are oppressive towards their people in general. And so you brought up a couple things. You brought up Kash Patel. Mm-hmm. So Robert, do you have number 4? Let's do that.
Like for me, I'm a simple guy, Kash. It's like, all right, if I'm the president, I'm getting in a plane, I'm flying to freaking Moscow, and I'm not leaving until I sit down with Putin, lock ourselves in a room and hash this out. Like super common sense. We don't see that happening in our government. Is that because the powers that be, as we say on the show, the deep state is really that powerful and they want these wars?
Yes, the deep state is that powerful. When we go to war, you know who makes money? The defense industrial complex. You know who makes money? All the 4-star generals that sign that letter to leave and go to a big-headed Raytheon or Boeing or Lockheed. And they do a lot of great things, but there's a lot of surplusage when you say, hey, well, not only do we have one war in the Ukraine, we're going to have another one in Iran, and we're going to be printing materials for them forever. So they are making money. And President Trump doesn't care about their finances. He cares about our security.
Cool. So that was Kash Patel, our new FBI director with the administration. He's been around for a while, actually. I had a chance to meet him in D.C. a couple years ago at an Independent Women's Network event. I'm a co-chair more than at a dinner. And what are you seeing with what he has put together? Because a lot of people were naysayers the first 3 months with him about the whole Epstein thing. Yeah. Where do you feel about
that?
I'm
seeing a couple of things. Number one, there's what people always say. You campaign, and then you get elected. That's when the real work starts.
Right.
So you can talk all you want, but at some point you got to back up your speech. And the other thing is, when you sit at that resolute desk, when you get into the Oval Office, when you become an FBI director, an attorney general, secretary of defense, if you've never held that role before, all of a sudden you kind of take a look under the hood, right? Behind the curtain. So now you have that kind of uh-oh moment, and you start to realize this is what's really happening, right? You start to get those briefings. You start to get exposed to secret intelligence and stuff. So while I like to hold our politicians and elected officials on both sides accountable, I think the American public has to understand and be humbled by the fact that we don't know what we don't know. And once you're privy to that information, you have to understand and hope that our elected officials are making the best decisions for the American people.
That's right. And do you think so far, in your opinion, I mean, you're pretty dialed in.
They're fumbled. They continue to fumble the Epstein stuff. That's, in my opinion.
And you think that is because there is really something to hold on to there, and that they are just letting it pass by because they want to minimize possibly what the consequences could look like?
Well, I mean, who knows? But what I do think is there's very powerful people that are mentioned in those documents. The thing is, that doesn't mean they're a pedophile. That's the thing.
That's right.
This guy knew everybody and his grandmother. This guy had a cup of coffee, had a dinner with everybody. And there's something called guilty by association. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're guilty. So if Trump's name is in there, if whoever it is, Bill Gates, Clinton, it doesn't mean just because you had a relationship with this monster that you're also a monster.
Or even if you're in the location of something happening, that doesn't mean you're participating in condoning or even had knowledge that it was going to happen.
Correct.
I mean, we have Diddy as an example. Those people were there on purpose, fully participating in that horrific situation for years and years and years. And they were complicit.
Yeah.
Like, they were just complicit. If you're going somewhere on purpose to a party and you're seeing things and not saying things, that's not always the same as somebody orchestrating stuff to get people involved on paper or on film and later use it against them, which I think was more Epstein's lane.
And in my opinion, again, I have no idea, but in my opinion, I also think it's pretty clear that it was probably an intelligence play, whether that's Israel Mossad, the CIA working in conjunction.
There's a lot going on.
I think it's probably that. So they can't really, to my point earlier, you can't really show your cards all the time because then it's exposed.
Everybody knows, yeah.
So
but overall, Kash Patel has been doing a great job.
Yeah.
He's working with Pam Bondi. I mean, I think they're trying to hit some things hard. Certainly the guns, the crime, which is paramount.
Yeah, I mean, I'll turn it to you. Like, in this administration, give me one thing that is happening right now that you're against.
Exactly.
Give me one.
Yeah,
and I ask
am
that,
at a
but
loss.
I like to ask left-wing people that too.
I know.
So we all agreed the border was a problem.
Right.
That's at 0. We all agree crime in the United States is despicable.
Right.
Right. So what? You're going to go a little bit federal in DC, places like Chicago, New York City. What are you going to campaign on? Pro-crime?
Well,
it doesn't
that's
make
what
sense.
they're campaigning on.
You just got to call balls and strikes, you know? We all agree that we want peace in the Middle East and Ukraine. Okay, so having conversations and try to broker a deal, is that a bad thing?
Right.
I mean, it's like thing after thing after thing after thing.
And you have all the peace deals that were brokered: Turkey, Azerbaijan. You have India. You have, Pakistan. Thank you. I mean, he's going across the nation and putting these together. And I again, to your point, I would agree. I mean, we are just in agreement 100% here. So I am curious. For those who are still so negative about this administration, write to Billy. Gosh, start a dialogue and really advise other people who may not understand the point of view that we cannot clearly see whatsoever, because we live in a really positive place right now. Certainly here in Arizona, things are improving, not 100%, because we do have our local Hobbs that are still in Chris Mays. They're still not on board with helping all the constituents all the time. But that's what elections are for next year, you guys. So get involved there. But what we do know is that guns are being confiscated. Crime is going down despite what they say, and not crime going down by statistics that were jerry-rigged or minimized over the last few years, which they are also proving was the case. So you can say that didn't happen, but they actually have it on paper to show, and some of the police chiefs are coming out and admitting that they were minimizing things. So we're glad that they have some strong administration cabinet members in, I think, is the bottom line.
And my point, my greater point is just to look at what's actually happening and then form your opinion.
Versus what they say.
Exactly. Like, by the way, if this was a Democrat in office right now and he or she was doing all of these things, let's say it was Harris, you still got to call balls and strikes and say, wow, she got control of the border. She's trying to broker a peace deal. She's going after illegal aliens that are criminals.
Right.
And by the way, she wants to clean up and get crime and guns off the street.
Our cities.
So if she was the president right now and that was happening,
we'd be like, good job, Kamala. Like, I don't think anybody's ever done that. Like, good job, Kamala. But we would.
Like, I don't know why that's controversial to say we're fighting for peace and we don't want crime in our country. And we want control over the border. Like, those are 3 big things.
And keep our kids safe.
I don't get it. Now, does Trump dive into certain cultural issues? I don't think he needs to.
No.
But that's who he is. You know, like he's talking about the Washington Redskins and the Commanders and let's change it. It's like, you know what? Let other people deal with that.
Right.
I think that the president should be above all that. And that's what kind of pokes at people that have TDS, right? Trump derangement.
Yes, he takes it down to that level. He does like to stir the pot a little bit. Like, we could acknowledge that. And it is part of his charm also. I think that he brings up cultural things that makes people think, and he does move the ball, not no pun intended to football, but he does move the ball down the field a little bit with things that other people were just going to let go. I mean, going back to the old-fashioned names, actually I like that idea. I don't think he needs to bring it up, frankly, to your point, but I do like the idea of just going back to originality and where they were, because all that changing that they did over those years to erase who these groups were, who the brands were, I think that was wrong.
Yeah.
And we didn't need to shift everything to something that wasn't even real. They just made up names now because they had to.
All that's, I mean, that kind of stuff, like the Cracker Barrel and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just be above that, right? You're
Bigger
in
problems.
office, you got elected.
Bigger fish to fry.
Bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
And, the one other thing I wanted to say, just to go along with our sort of transparency and freedom of speech here, sometimes I just sit back, I wake up in the morning, I'm drinking my coffee, and I say, wouldn't it be refreshing on either side to have a politician that truly just said the truth, that truly said, you know what, he or she is on the other side of the aisle, but that's a good thing.
Right.
Right? Like if you had a Democrat just say, look, I don't like Trump because of XYZ, but 8, 1, 2, 3, he's actually winning. Like, why is there nobody that just can say the truth?
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be refreshing?
Well, I think their truth is so convoluted by the TDS that they and it's so clouded, their judgment, by what they hear and their focus on their cable channel or their podcast or whatever they're listening to, that they just don't have the range anymore to even contemplate that there's another option.
I kind of disagree. I think if somebody would come out and do that, either a party or an independent, it would be so refreshing. We really haven't had one guy that kind of does it. He's not a politician, but Bill Maher.
He has been strong.
Bill Maher, whether you agree with all of his points or not, I believe he truly says what he believes.
He does.
He just says it. He's like, you know what? Let the chips fall where they may. He went and had dinner with the president.
He did, and he came out strong on President Trump's behalf.
And he still criticizes the hell out of him.
He does.
As he should. That's his right. Because he's speaking his truth. It's just that there's nobody, and this is both sides, that just says exactly how it is.
Right.
Right.
So it's a lot of gray area, a lot of fluff, and a lot of stepping back and retracting. And so really the point is that we do have to look at the truth. And if you're in your bubble, and even if you're in my bubble, because we are pro kind of one side, which is America, law and order. I mean, we're big proponents of that. Veterans, by the way, let's not forget about them. Saving our kids, keeping our streets safe. We're all pro that. But if you're on the other side of it, I mean, just for a second, one or two of you, and then tell one or two more, just look at the other things that are happening and start forming your own opinions versus the opinions that you've been handed for the last several years and continue to be handed. Not as strongly, though. I've noticed some of the stations, I watch CNN a little bit and the others just to check up on what's happening, how they're throwing things out there. They have dialed it back a lot. I will have to give them credit. Now, of course, they fired a slew of people who were hard propagandists. Thank heavens they did that. And that was, of course, money driven for their ratings. But nonetheless, they did it. But some of the people left on those stations have retracted a little. You have that guy on MSNBC, the guy with the billboard that's always the tall, dark. You know who that is? He's always, oh, God.
I don't watch MSNBC.
You don't even check in?
Now it's
you don't check in?
MS Now. They're changing.
Yeah, I heard they changed. They rebranded.
I check in a little bit, but I don't watch mainstream. I just
like
get
to
my stuff on
hear.
X. Yeah, once in a while. But because you know why there's CNN,
Going
you
back.
see clips. Well, I think the number one reason is, let's take crime. How can you really fault somebody for trying to get control of our cities?
Right.
It's like the mayors and the governors, I don't care if it's a red city or a blue city, they're not doing a good job. I lived all over the world, and you sit down in the bar and you're talking to somebody and they find out you're an American, the first thing they say is, it's really dangerous.
Over
really
here?
Dangerous here.
It is.
And I say, how can you live there? Like, is everyone just shooting? And it's like, well, not in my neighborhood, but south side of Chicago, parts of New York City,
right,
parts of LA, yes. And you know what? That's a scar. That's a scar on us. We need to get control of crime.
We do.
And you have a president that's willing to get creative, take some chances, and enact some federal powers.
And what do you think about the Guard going in? How do you feel about that?
Well, here's the point. If the mayors and the police chiefs and the governors are not doing a good job, we all agree on that.
Right.
It's not safe. then why not get creative and change it?
I'm a big proponent of law and order and law enforcement on the streets. I've traveled to other countries, as Billy has, and he can tell you too, where I was in the Middle East several years ago, pre 9/11, when you're in the market and there's Muslims and there's Christians all shopping together, super friendly, no problems whatsoever, by the way. And you have the armed guards, the military on the streets with their big rifles. There's no pickpockets. Nobody's jumping somebody in the alleyway. Okay, this is not happening. So I don't care what Karen Bass says, having law enforcement on the street does improve safety and security for everybody on the street. And so
I agree. I think he should go all in on that.
Oh,
because
me too.
And again, Democrats that want to push back, be very careful. Because
That's
guess
right.
what? The people that live in those cities, they're MAGA, they're center, they're left,
Right.
they're everything. But
Right.
one thing they want, safety.
Yeah,
They
they-
want safety for their kids.
Yeah.
What woman that works till 8 o'clock at night, the sun's going down, can't even walk to her car in a parking garage?
I know.
So, it's
Or
safety.
here, even go to the bathroom. We have cartel issues here. I mean, we had issues right down the street here at our local mall, which we're in a very nice area, or nicer area, I should say. And it was being told that the girls shouldn't go to the bathrooms by themselves at Desert Ridge because cartels would come, they'd shoot them, inject them, and walk them out of the bathroom. I mean, it was that dangerous. So when you can't even go to your mall with your kids, I mean, that is not a good state of affairs in any country, certainly not the one you're living in. So we're glad, back to Kash Patel, that he is being proactive. Him and Pam Bondi are definitely pro law enforcement, and she's a strong advocate for cleaning up everything that makes America great again, which is above all, safety and security for our families. That's number one on the agenda. I want to go forward. We did lose a little bit of time, you guys, with our tech stuff, but we have a lot to cover. So I do want to go forward. Robert, can you get me number 5? Perfect. Awesome.
Caroline, that iconic photo behind me there, if you can see, nobody talks about the attempt on President Trump's life anymore. It's crazy. As someone who was around the president, is it surreal to think that the media has moved on so quickly?
And you're 100% right. The media is trying to memory hole the attempt on President Trump's life. And it's really appalling and disgusting. This was a historic moment in our nation's history where the former president of the United States came within millimeters of losing his life. Only by the grace of God is he still with us today. And nobody talks about it. Not one single question about the assassination attempt on President Trump's life is sickening. And it just shows that the mainstream media is in the pocket of the Democrat Party.
All right. So Billy, if I didn't mention, he is really involved in a lot of ways, not just locally here, which we're going to bring up a little bit later, but nationally, he's had a really amazing opportunity that I didn't even know he had such amazing opportunities, to tell you the truth, until I started really looking at his stuff. I knew what he did, but not to this extent. And Carolyn Levitt, we talk about her. In fact, Carolyn Levitt, she ends my show every week with the MAGA Minute. She's been very helpful in my production. So we always want to thank her. She's an amazing voice for this nation. And I don't know how we could have found anybody better. And Keely McEnany was good too in 2016 with that last administration. Nothing to take away from her. But Carolyn Levitt is like the next level communicator for press
I think
secretary.
that might be the toughest job in the whole administration.
I don't disagree with you.
Fight with that. But that clip you just showed, that was from right at the end of the campaign, presidential campaign. So we talked about earlier, when you finally get in to office, you get behind the Resolute desk, you're in the Oval Office, and you find out what's really going on. You know who's not talking about the Trump assassination attempts? Trump.
True.
Why isn't he? And you hear that clip there, but guess what? She's not talking about it. No one's talking about it, even the Trump administration. So it makes you ask why. They investigated it. A couple of the Secret Service members were put on leave, etc. And then it's like, that's it.
Do you
Interesting.
think that they're not doing something behind the scenes?
My
still?
point is, shouldn't the American public be allowed to know who that guy is? Who was the guy in the golf course hiding in the bushes? We know more about the shooting that tragically happened this week within 24 hours than we do about a guy that actually hit President Trump with a bullet. And it makes you wonder why. And that's not the media's fault right now. That's the Trump administration's fault. So why?
Right. I agree with that, with Crooks especially, the guy on the golf course, also with the 5 burners and the international affiliations. I mean, obviously there's a story there, but you're right, because I saw yesterday with that shooter in Minneapolis that they had video in his house of all his stuff.
Look at
I mean,
everything,
they're like,
right
they
away.
did everything in like less than 24 hours.
So the guy that came millimeters away from ending a president's life, we know almost nothing.
Who snuck into a rally, got on a roof with a sharpshooter literally yards
That's
from
a
him.
nothing burger. I mean,
Yeah.
so it begs the question. And again,
those things are disappointing.
They might be privy to information that we're not.
And we have to accept that as part too. Sometimes I think we overshare as our government. I think that sometimes we give too much information out of what we're doing, what we're changing, what we're adjusting, so other people hear it. I don't know that we do have to reveal everything. This is important in the fact that it was our president, and they got way too close, way too often. And I mean, two in a row. Three. It was a three, actually.
And you know Trump and his personality and the way he deals. It's the biggest event moment in his life, right? The biggest thing ever. And he goes all in on everything. And he very rarely,
like you said, football teams.
I never even heard him say the kid's name, nothing.
No.
He goes in so hard on everything. And the biggest, most significant moment of your life,
right,
that far away from getting your head blown off, God forbid.
I mean,
and he doesn't say
nicked him.
Doesn't say a word. Yeah, just
that's
food
for thought for sure. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it in that respect at this point. I am Pollyanna-ish in the fact that I do hold the hope that our administration is still deep diving into these people and they're formulating their plan of action to whatever they need to do to handle this. Obviously, his protection level has gone up. I do worry about him a little bit. Even I feel like he walks around quite a bit, and I know he has a couple bubbles around him. But I always think, wow, he's still really out there, which is interesting because I think he still has bounties on his head. But you're right. It would be nice if they could put some bows on these things and at least let us know that there's something behind.
There's a lot. I think that there's a lot that we don't know. Again. That might be for good reason. But another one, I interviewed everybody and their mother during the campaign season. And I said, there's one thing I would like you, if you get into office, that you don't forget about. Maybe an investigation into the most significant thing in all of our lives, which was COVID. Right. Maybe investigate. I get Fauci and I get all that. But maybe investigate China. Why don't we talk about China? Was it weaponized? What did they do to hide? What did they do to cover up? And of course, when I get in Congress, when I get in Senate, to Carrie Lake, she didn't get elected, but she did. She promised. She said, no, we're going to look into that. Guess what? We don't hear about that anymore. Not a word about China.
They are doing some investigations into China.
Oh, really? I haven't heard much about it.
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, if I had thought the thing, I am almost certain.
When's the last time you heard the Trump administration say, look, this was billions of trillions of dollars lost, lives lost, a whole culture shifted, kids not going to school. It changed a generation.
Yeah.
And not a word about China. And they all promised they would. Now it's like, that's another one. You get in there, you look at the files, like, we can't touch that.
So I still think that they are, because I think I did hear something about a month or two ago that they are still investigating and bringing people into Congress, as effective as that may or may not be, for questioning. So we'll see. Maybe we're going to get some big reveals on his way out the door. You know how he likes to do grand gestures.
The most important stuff kind of gets swept under the rug and forgotten. An assassination attempt, the change of the history of our world with a virus in China. Oh, it's like, nobody really.
Well, speaking of China, then he just came out yesterday with accepting, students. I know 600,000. They said was going to be a thing.
That's right.
It's over a couple of years, and it's actually what's in place now. Right. But I will have to agree with the other side of the people negative. That is wholly unacceptable.
Well, but that's negotiating, right? He's doing.
I know,
trade.
But
he's gotta, back and
forth.
But
he could have said 100,000. He could have dialed it back, and or a couple 100,000, because we do want to help other countries, and they do bring us some of their best and their brightest. But there's no way to guarantee that they're staying here with it at the end of the day, and not just taking everything back for their own country. I mean, we are still inclusive of everyone, and so we can't cut that off. My dad's an immigrant, so are all my family members, and gosh, I'm so glad we got to come over. They did when they were taking boats over here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we don't want to stop that, but I don't think making a big spectacle of it this week seems a little inappropriate and misplaced, I guess. I mean, of all the things you're going to put your hat on, I don't know that bringing all the students from there is the way to go. So he's not perfect. Let's just say, so we don't think he's perfect either. Those are the MAGA haters out there, and I'm not holding any signs or wearing any hats on my daily, but we do support our administration. And like Billy said earlier, whether it was an opposite administration and they were doing good for everyone, not communism or socialism or free everything for everybody and taking the economy down to nothing so everybody's on welfare, we would champion the opposite if that was them in place doing it. So we are rallying behind what we think is good for our country, not always just the person, even though that's who we voted in, but we do appreciate the positive movement that he is giving to us and nationwide to our kids and our families and our communities for safety, for sure.
So
that
let me
has
ask
to be
you this.
said.
So where does it go from here?
After Trump?
He's out 28. So you have this
scary,
and you're tapped into this more so than me, this sort of movement, this MAGA movement, and he's obviously the head of the movement.
Yeah.
It seems like he's got to pass the baton. He's got to crown somebody else.
He does.
Trump likes one thing, that name, Trump. You know, a lot of the products or branding or the buildings you see Trump,
right?
A lot of that is actually not him. It's licensing.
Right.
So somebody bought the licensing because he loves that Trump name, Trump.
I mean, it's who he is. I mean, after all.
I don't know how he's going to be able to let his ego down.
Can he be vice president? Is that on the table?
I don't.
Is that illegal? He can't be president. Can he be vice president?
There are ways to do
He'll
that.
He'll be an advisor for sure.
Well, the point is he going to endorse somebody that doesn't have Trump as a last name? Whether that be his son or Laura or someone. I mean,
we haven't heard anything from Eric in a while. Don Jr. I thought would be a natural progression behind him.
How about Laura?
I think we're a little early for that.
She's really sharp.
No. I no problem with Laura Trump whatsoever. I just think that I have a female presidency. I still think we're a little early for that. I just do. I have my own old-fashioned ideas about that, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, and I might get some mail on this one, but I do find that in a role such as this, the leader of the free world, dealing with people like, first of all, if you're from another country, so I'm Middle Eastern, in the Middle Eastern countries, and there are plenty of them, women can't talk to men. They're in separate rooms. Now, of course, we see the meetings happen, and Kamala flew here and there, and they allow it on the world stage. But from a negotiating hardline perspective, the effectiveness can never be there.
So just come out and say it.
I'm not going to say it.
Say what you want to say.
I just feel.
Don't beat around the bush here.
I just feel like it's a really hard place for a woman to actually take the role of president in the United States in the rest of the world that is out there, because they're not accepting of that culturally. And if you can't get other world leaders to negotiate and respectfully sit down with your leader because she's a woman, you've already lost half the battle. And that is just something that has not been shifted worldwide yet. And that's just a fact. And you have to acknowledge that, whether you think a woman should be president or not, it's time for them to be president. The fact is, the world is not accepting of it. And as the top leader of the world, you have to be able to deal with everybody across the board. And we could see it from two men, Biden to Trump. Biden couldn't deal with anybody as a man. He's a man. Everybody respects the men around the world. All the men leaders do. But Trump came in and he just drove right through all of them and just got things done in the first 200 days. So even from a man perspective, even they didn't respect Biden, and look where that got us. They respect women even less around the world. And that, well, can you disagree with that? I mean,
I completely disagree with you.
You do?
Yeah, because I don't think because to me, well, there's like, we had a black president. And there's a lot of countries and groups that don't respect African Americans. But he was still able, whether you don't like his policies or not, he was still able to become president.
Okay.
I just think we haven't had the right woman.
Okay.
I don't think it's I really don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's just we haven't had the right woman. Like, would you rather have Biden or a really competent woman?
Yeah.
And that wasn't Harris, but you know what I mean?
No,
to me, and we see other world you see other world leaders that are female that are strong. Look at Italy. Look at,
Well, look at Meloni. No, Meloni's great. Good. She is respected.
Yeah. I
Margaret
don't
Thatcher was
look.
respected.
I don't buy.
I just see
think,
it as a bigger challenge than what we need. We're just trying to rebuild our blocks, and I think that at least for a couple cycles, 2 or 3, I think we need to stick with what we know will work. With a sorry, old-fashioned views over here, strong male leader that can show dominance, which is still a thing in the world. And
I get it. I don't think that that's the issue. I just think we haven't had the right woman run.
I mean, there's no more Margaret Thatchers out there. Let's be realistic. So, I mean, I'm sure they can come around again. And we do have strong women in our country. There is no doubt about that. The Trump brand is what it is. I did think it was going to be, honestly, I thought the torch would go Don Jr., Eric, Barron. That's really what I was thinking was going to happen. But I saw a thing the other day where they've got Vance set for the next 4. They've got Rubio set for the next 4. And they've got Hegseth set for the next 4.
If it's a Vance Rubio ticket, Vance Rubio is vice. I mean, I'm not sure how that loses.
Right.
But you got to remember.
You think Vance on top of Rubio?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's the vice president.
I know, but Rubio has longevity, and he's really stepped up.
Inter-Trump world, inter-MAGA fighting. Just stay tuned.
That will be interesting.
Depending on who he endorses. If you have Rubio also running and not want to be vice, and you have Vance, and then you have somebody else from the outside. Of Vivek or something else. There could be a lot of inter-MAGA fighting here that Trump is going to have to really tiptoe. Again, the ego is going to come out, and he's going to probably have to get behind somebody. If he's smart, just don't endorse. Like these
That's what I say.
Don't say a word.
Stop endorsing early.
But he won't.
Because he did that here in Arizona. Back to Hobbs and Biggs, and we have Karen Taylor Robson running for governor. Everybody wants Hobbs out, and Andy Biggs, odds-on favorite as far as I know, and people I am in touch with here. Karen Taylor Robson, we were just talking off camera about her.
Why would he endorse when he knows that behind the scenes, he knows Andy Biggs.
Yes,
he knows he was going to run.
Freedom
Why
Caucus,
would he do that?
I know.
So now he's got his hands tied. Now he's endorsed both.
But he didn't. He did endorse both.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not endorsement.
And honestly, I'm not. It voids each other.
Yeah.
I personally am not a big proponent of endorsements. I mean, does anybody really care that somebody else likes somebody else? I mean, really, you just have to. I always say, and I say it at the end of the show. I'll say it today. You have to go and meet your candidates yourself, and you have to form your own opinions. Getting your neighbor's opinion is awesome. And it's helpful, and maybe it leads you in a direction, but you have to know who you particularly are voting for, and you have to do your own research and education, and sometimes that takes a little extra time. You can't just check a box and hope that it's going to go good, because it's actually your entire world in your communities, your city, your county, your states that depend on who you vote for yourself and all the people, your coworkers, your churchgoers. And so what decision you make matters. And we will have our own fight in 26 for sure. It's going to be interesting. 26, 28.
You have a Democrat governor. You have 2 Democrat senators.
Right.
Yet we went for Trump in the general. I don't think Hobbs is popular. Right. But you got to remember, this is democracy. We have primaries. If Biggs wins the primary versus Karen, and I'm not saying he will. I think we got a long way to go, and she's got a lot of money. And she's a very smart and nice woman, actually.
Yes.
But if Biggs wins, watch him start to divorce himself a little bit from the MAGA brand. Because we saw what happened to Kerry.
Sure.
Kerry won, 2 primary, and then she lost in the general. Now, a lot of people argue that, if Sheriff Lamb had won, or if somebody else had won, Karen had won the previous governor, they would have beat the Democrat. Watch Biggs start to come a little more to the center.
I don't think that's wrong.
He has to.
And I don't think that's wrong. I think that they should, for the most part, be in the middle to appeal to the wider range.
Win the general.
And you got the independents who want to join a little bit on this side because they are moderate and they do believe in really good things. And so I think that the centric area is where everybody should be. Honestly, I think we should have no parties and everybody just runs as the person that they are, and then you just vote for the person. I don't know why we have to have parties at all, frankly. I mean, does it matter, if they're hard right or hard left? Just vote for what you hear them say. Just like I tell you about this Mondami guy back in New York. I mean, you can hear what he says now, but that's not who he is. Just rewind the reels from a year or 2 ago. What he said is who he is. What he says now is just fluff and propaganda to get you to like him now. So it's always, the people reveal themselves at the beginning. They turn into who they want you to see at the end, really is what happens.
And I'm from New York. And if Adams or Cuomo, one of those has to bite the bullet.
They've been
here,
quite as mice.
Drop the ego, but one of them's got to drop out because they're just going to eat each other. And Cuomo should. They're just going to eat each other's votes, and then he's going to become.
That's what happens.
It's going to happen, guys.
That's what happens here. Too many people cooked in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So we need to get past this, you guys, and really do your due diligence, because it's your country too. We talk about the country, but you live in it as well, and your families, your kids are going to grow up in it one day, and it's up to you to make sure that it's going to go in the right direction. Which again, can't emphasize safety and security enough, because we don't want our kids getting killed in school or carjacked when they turn 16, or what happens to girls, or sex trafficking. I mean, these things have got to stop, and not all, the other countries don't experience, I think, to the extent that sometimes we do, and we're supposed to be the smart ones in the room. So that's confusing to me that we haven't figured some of this out in all the years that we've been able to put a finger to it. But live and learn, and the administration is doing what they can, not in all areas, obviously. According to Billy, I agree with him on some of that. And even we have the same like-minded opinions, but obviously not on everything. And that's okay. That's what makes the world so amazing, is that we can voice them here today. So we're going to go for something fun. And I've never done this before, but we're going to see how this goes. We're going to do a speed round. I am going to show him a picture of several people nationwide. He's going to give me his top line thought after interviewing them about them.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, go, Robert. Start with 6. Top thought. You got it? Yep, images 6 through, yep, exactly. Through 13, yep. Yep. You got it. Thank you.
Right now, I would say handsome.
I would agree. Handsome too. Billy Harfosh. Yes. Very handsome.
By the way, is this you?
This representative, maybe.
It's really cool. I like that logo.
I did make that. Maybe not.
By the way, I'm not prepared for this, so I don't know who you're going to be flashing on the screen.
Well, I'll give you a couple easy ones to lead off. Wait, we're on. Oh, you went down to 11. Okay. All right. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, well, go back to 6 for me. Go back to 6 for me, would you? That's okay. That's okay. Okay. We'll start with 6. Kash Patel, top line.
Law and order, extremely intelligent, controversial.
Fair enough. 7. Our favorite, Carolyn Levitt.
Wise beyond her years, young. She's still in her 20s, I believe. 28.
27, 28, yeah.
Wise beyond her years, young, excellent communicator, bright future.
Number 8, Don Jr.
Fun to crush beers with. A guy's guy, will never be president.
Fair. You've had beers with Don Jr. Fun. That's awesome. New fact you didn't know.
Didn't have beers.
RFK Jr.
And no beers. He's sober.
Great.
Love the guy. I think he truly has his heart in the right place. And he's one of the few politicians I've ever met that I truly think he says what he believes.
He seems very humble.
Very humble.
Perfect. Love that about him. 10. Icon. When I saw this, I was like, oh, wow.
I get goosebumps because
Ozzy Osbourne, guys.
The human body knows when it's going to leave this earth. And he, recently, as everybody knows, did this incredible, huge concert. And then, within hours, he left us.
Right.
But that was his goodbye. Kind-hearted legend.
Awesome. Next on the list, we have Jake Chansley. Now, I brought this up. Oh, we're not. Oh, I see. I'm not queued up here. Let me get this for you. So I brought Jake up because this is in front of. Here we go. So you guys, this is Jake Chansley. If you don't know, because he's got his Indian garb on, but he was known as the shaman of J6.
Yeah, don't say the Q word.
Did I say it?
No.
I know. I stopped.
We all know the word.
Yeah, the shaman with the horns, J6. So Jake Chancellor lives here in Arizona. He's actually a really great guy. He went through a horrific ordeal. But you see where you are standing in front of?
Yep, that's your setup.
So this was December in front of my Patriot Mom 007 booth with Total News and Grassroots 50. Check them out too here in Arizona at the Turning Point event I mentioned earlier. So Jake, what do you think about him?
Too smart for his own britches.
Very, very intelligent.
Extremely
incredibly genius.
Possible genius level. I think that he's incredibly smart. He won't like me saying this part. I think he's so smart and he can comprehend so much information that he dives so deep in the darkest rooms of the internet that I think sometimes he can go too far, but that is, again, a credit to his intelligence level.
He is very smart. I agree with that 100%. And next we have number 12, a favorite in Arizona for many. This was at your studio. This is when you first came into Star Worldwide.
Yeah, so that's Sheriff Joe.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
I have boxers, pink boxers that he signed for me hanging in my house. Again, I'll use the word controversial. He's old, yet he's still with it.
Yep.
I think Sheriff loves publicity. And I think that
good guy,
very, very polarizing. And I don't think he could have governed Sheriff the way he did nowadays with social media.
Agreed. And then we go into also an icon here in Arizona, Alice Cooper.
One of my favorite humans.
Love that picture. That was the one I saw. That was the best
just
picture.
Like last week. But one of my favorite humans gets up every morning, 5 a.m., plays golf. He's decades sober now. He substituted his addiction to alcohol and drugs for golf. Truly a kind,
That's a good one.
And it's similar to Ozzy in the sense that just a kind heart,
right.
A kind spirit. And, we need more of that in our country.
Okay, so then we have the last two are going to be quick video clips, local. So I went national to local.
Okay, let's go.
We've got the first one on number 14. You have that, Robert? Just give me 10 on that. It's all Kevin.
She was a sister who really could.
You know who that is.
So I got
His studio.
Yeah. Falling apart. Betsy Ross got it all sewed up.
You guys.
And then there's Mark.
And then
He's got a voice.
He does.
Kevin Jackson. So that's Kevin Jackson.
He does have a voice here in Arizona. Yes.
By the way, what camera do I look at?
What are we on? Are we on?
This is such a cool studio. I got this camera.
We're on 0 right in the middle.
By the way, Kevin, where the hell are you? He came to my birthday party a while back. Kevin, where are you?
Wait, he came to your birthday party? I didn't know about the birthday party.
Well, it was a previous. You'll be at my next one.
What's going on?
Kevin, where the hell are you? I like Kevin Jackson. Extremely intelligent, great communicator. Another guy that sticks up for what he believes in because he got fired by Fox.
He did get fired years ago from Fox.
But he sticks up. He holds. Yeah, the thing about Kevin is he's also understood that you can go independent and do other things. He's got outside of politics, a truly smart entrepreneurial mind.
So much. So that was just a couple weeks ago in his home studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass that message along.
Yeah, Kevin, where the hell are you?
He's doing 1,000 different things. So he's super busy, but we'll have to regroup coming up here in the year. He's a good guy. Okay. The last one. Thought.
All right. Thanks again. Always a pleasure.
Great job.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, Zion, we're out.
Oh, this is great. This is the best one.
Patriot Mom 007.
Innovator, witty, off-camera people, very kind, very kind. You're inspiring to me as well. Because you show up. My previous show on iHeart was called Show Up Arizona, and that means you got to show up. And you go to all the right events, you get all the right credentials, you do great interviews, and you've become a mover and shaker, and I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
So just you keep it up. I mean, you do things the right way. You do it the right way.
Well,
and one other thing I'll say about you is you always follow up. I've noticed that through the years. Whether we're going to do an interview or I call you for a favor because I want to book a guest. For example, Jake. I didn't know Jake personally, and you're the one that connected me with him. Now he's been on my show, and we're quite friendly. You always follow up.
Thank you.
Always follow
Well,
up.
I was looking for a one-word answer, but I'll take all of those awesome answers because it's Friday and who doesn't need an ego boost going into the weekend?
Can
So
I say, are you about to wrap? Can I say one more?
No, we're not done yet. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I just wanted to bring up
I
one
want to
thing.
thank him for that, but no, yeah, bring up whatever
So
you
just
want.
real quick.
You know what? We didn't even talk about my bad.
No, not that.
Oh.
Not the leadership stuff will
Yeah.
come in another time, but I'd like to come back on to that. There's one person you didn't put up there that I would like to say something about, and that's Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. And I've been interviewing Joe for a long time now. I have a good, friendly relationship with Joe. I have interviewed his lawyers. Joe brought us a lot of humor and just some beautiful moments during COVID. But what the world doesn't know is Joe was in a cell. He was in his own cage during that. He's never gotten the money. He's never gotten the fame or the publicity because Joe is in prison. He's in federal prison, and he's actually not doing great health-wise. He's quite sick. I have spoke to his lawyers. I've interviewed his lawyers. I've spoke to a lot of people. I've reviewed a lot of documents in the case. I truly believe, and there's no game for me financially or anything. I truly believe that Joe Exotic is wrongfully imprisoned in the United States of America. President Trump, I beg you, I implore you. I know that actually the White House, this is some breaking news, the White House is actually looking at his case right now.
Okay.
But I beg you, President Trump, because you've pardoned a lot of people, okay? Whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but you've pardoned a lot of people. There is one man in there right now. You might say, oh, it's the Tiger King. Who cares? He's some cartoon.
Right.
I promise you, he's a real man.
I've heard your interviews with him, actually.
President Trump, if you can do one thing, take 10 seconds, get a quick briefing, you make quick decisions, and just free Joe Exotic. I got to tell you, he's a great guy, and I truly believe he should not be locked up in prison. What they said he did not do.
Right.
He did not do it.
I saw the documentary. I mean, so many people did, Tiger King, if you guys aren't aware. Actually, I talked to somebody the other day who didn't know who he was. The Tiger King. You can check it out. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances. I'm sure there's some other people involved. Joe is convolutes things with the truth. I don't know him just from watching Billy's interview. So I do recommend you get on at Billy Harfosh on all the channels and check out his interviews across the board, also with Joe Exotic, because it is important that in Law and Order that it's not in a wrongfully done way. Like we don't want that wrong people to go to jail.
People say, well, what are you advocating for this guy? Who cares? And you might not agree with a lot of the stuff with his zoo and stuff like that. I get it. But you know what? He is a son. He's a human being. He's a friend. He has a good heart. And I guarantee you, if he was your son or your father or your brother or your friend, you wouldn't be saying, oh, who cares? He's a real person. And I understand the president's got a lot of important things to do. But if he's in pardon season, which he seems to be, he pardons people all the time, then why not do this if it's in front of you? And
real quick, I'm real curious, though, before we get off the subject, how is it that you got connected with Joe to advocate for him?
Primetime Alex Stein.
Pimp
on a blimp, big booty Latinas. Yeah, we can. Primetime Alex Stein. I interviewed him. I met him at AmeriFest.
Oh, right.
And who's another awesome guy. And I saw that he had Joe calling in from prison, and I texted him. I said, "Hey, Alex, can you hook me up?" And then we formed a good relationship. And my first time interviewing Joe, it wasn't. I didn't know whether he, it was murder for hire. It's a serious charge.
Yeah.
But the more I got to know him, the more I looked into his case, the more I talked to his lawyers, the more I saw a lot of people that supposed witnesses that signed legal documents that now they're recanting everything. The more I said, this dude's in prison and he shouldn't be. So I asked the Trump administration to please release Joe Exotic. It needs to be done. It needs to be done. And I get it. There's important things happening. You might be watching right now and there's somebody in your family that's incarcerated that you believe is innocent. You're like, well, what about Tommy? What about John? I get it. The thing is, this is on the president's radar. It's already there. You need to advocate on your own for your loved ones. The Trump administration knows about Joe Exotic. Just do the right thing.
Well, speaking of the knowledge, I mean, if he ever would want to come on my show and share with a new audience, I would certainly be willing to hear about it because I did watch it and it's highly riveting and interesting. And you don't always see the other side of the stories. You know, it's like the people who, you know, that get divorced, you hear her side, you play racquetball with him or I guess pickleball now. And so you just have that perspective and that's not always fair to the person involved. So it is really good to look into things. And if that's the case, I mean, we'd want to help expose too if it was wrongful, you know, prosecution. That's never a good thing in America. And I am all law and order. You know that. Thanks for sharing that. We didn't get to one item that Billy is. Do you want to just say it out? If you have somewhere to send them?
I'm nowhere to send it yet. But please go to my Instagram. It's at Billy Harfosh. You can find everything I got going on there. Perfect. I am launching something that's non-political, and it's a male leadership social freedom program. It's called Code of Kings. You're getting the exclusive. And we've already got some clients, but we're going to be teaching males how to shake a hand, how to give a toast, how to approach a woman, how to give a speech, how to advocate for yourself in your job, in your marriage, in your relationships, how to have true social dynamics and to be dynamic. Because the problem is everyone's here.
Yes,
right?
nobody's here.
And nobody's here. So what we're trying to do is get you, away from your phones and be able to have real human-to-human interactions. And I think that with the advent of AI and how powerful AI is, I think it's actually going to go backwards. And the only thing we're going to value eventually is this.
God, I hope so. So I love the people to people. I mean, I Zoom people in now because they're around the nation. I was so grateful Billy came across town today to sit with me because I even gave him the option to Zoom just out of courtesy for time and all of that. And I much prefer talking to people in person. I come out of a salon industry for 30 years. I'm a manicurist. I hold hands for an hour. And so that connection is just so important every time, like everywhere, not just 2025, like forever. It's been that way. It will always be that way. And you're right. The phones are like the devil and for many reasons, but most of all, the lack of connectivity that it promotes. And it's going to get worse with the Neuralinks and all the AI glasses and all of that. And so and I'm sorry we didn't put more time into it. We talked about it. I kind of forgot what the glitches we had, but we're going to look at that. And obviously we're going to help promote that because more people should be looking at projects that promote people to people connection. When you have that lost, it's easy for people to do things to others and harm them in ways that would be not normal in a community when you know your neighbors and you do unto others as you would have done unto you. That's really basic, right?
You know what's not normal?
That's exciting.
What's not normal is sitting on this all day and coming home from your job that you were on the screen and going to your next screen. And that's not normal. What's normal is going out into, we call it the wild, going out into the wild and make real human connections. That's normal.
That is normal. So I'm so glad that you said that that's your project. I had no idea what it was. I appreciate you sharing it with us today, even though it's not launched yet. Definitely want to have you back just on that and who your team's going to be and what it looks like and how to get people involved. It will be so important to promote the best things that we know about in our communities. Elections are great and all of that, get involved on all levels, but the best things to get involved with are the ones that are going to advance for your loved ones and your close-knit friends and the next generation, really, because they're kind of lost right now for sure. So with that, you guys, Billy Harfosh, at Billy Harfosh everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, X. Find his show, his podcast. Where do they see your show? YouTube?
It's everywhere. Just type my name and you'll find it.
Type his name in. He is everywhere. Yeah. I love that. So
and by the way, Katie Hobbs. Come do her show. Come do my show.
Do our show. We'll do a joint
show. We're
show.
Kids. By the way, it would be very.
We could. How about Ruben and Katie, or Katie and Chris Mays? Like, we're equal opportunity over here, so it could be like a sit-down round table. It doesn't even have to be like a one-on-one dynamic. Like all inclusive of everybody's thoughts.
I'm ready to go.
What about that?
Yeah. Talk to your voters.
Yeah, let them know what you're thinking. So with that, we're gonna just finish wrapping the show. Billy's gonna pop just right next door, sitting here, and we're going to wrap up with, thank God, Caroline Levitt is back with us on the MAGA Minute. She was away for a couple of weeks because they were brokering world peace everywhere, and she didn't have time to put our 2-minute reels together for us. But she is back today with a 2-minute because her MAGA Minute has blown up so much because our country is so positively progressing right now. She can't do anything in a minute anymore. So let's hear what happened this last week. And making DC safe again is number 1 on that list. Go ahead, Robert.
Law and order, push-ups, and the pursuit of peace. Let's break it all down in another jam-packed MAGA Minute. The president traveled to Alaska to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin before hosting a productive summit here at the White House with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the NATO secretary, the president of the European Commission, and heads of state from the United Kingdom, Italy, Finland, Germany, and France, all to further efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Foreign leaders have since remarked that more progress toward peace has been made in the last 2 weeks than in the past 3 years under Joe Biden. All we needed, clearly, was a new president. The president's initiative to make D.C. safe again has resulted in well over 600 arrests, including arrests of an MS-13 gang member, the seizure of illegal firearms and drugs off of the streets of our nation's capital. As a matter of fact, since President Trump began his crackdown on crime in D.C., all crime is down 9%, and violent crime is down 41% when compared to the 10 days before the president's executive actions. Additionally, carjackings are down 83%, robberies are down 58%, murders are down 50%, motor vehicle thefts are down 33%, and assaults with dangerous weapons are down 27%. The president on Thursday went to greet and thank the men and women undergoing this historic effort to make our nation's capital safe and beautiful again. And the vice president, J.D. Vance, visited Union Station to visit troops keeping our nation's capital safe and took some protesters to school. HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth started quite the trend this week, encouraging other members of the cabinet and Americans like you across the country to participate in the Pete and Bobby Challenge. The challenge is 100 push-ups and 50 pull-ups in under 10 minutes. Can you do it? We want to see you try. And lastly, you should follow the White House on TikTok, where you will find some must-see content. It was another very busy week here at the White House. We will see you for next week for another very busy MAGA Minute.
Middle of our MAGA Minute, and we froze, darn it, you guys. Violent crime in DC is down 41%. They confiscated almost 400 guns in the last 2 weeks, just in DC as well, since we're DC centric this week. And that's where he's focused a lot of his attention, because he is living there after all. And so are a lot of other people in the city. And I've been hearing from a lot of them on news channels lately being interviewed, saying how grateful they are that our president has put their safety and security and that well-being of their families first. So we can't thank him enough for doing that. Also, he thanked our troops, as he often does, and we always want to remember our veterans. I haven't mentioned that today, but our veterans are always the most important people in our nation. Our guys standing on the streets getting spit at just for protecting their neighborhoods, where they live also, where their families are. Thank a veteran when you see them. Always remember that they are there for you and they don't know you, and yet they put their lives often on the line every single day. Same with our Border Patrol that are getting beat up, not as much because the focus now is now against our National Guard. So they just shift around with who they want to hate. But ultimately, at the end of the day, love them or hate them. Even when you hate them, they will protect you and your family no matter what. So thank a veteran, and we thank our president, Carolyn Levitt. Thanks for the MAGA Minute. It'll be up online if you guys missed what happened all week. You can still catch it back at Patriot_Mom007 on Facebook and YouTube, Rumble, and PMom007 on X. The shows will be up forever. If you like them, please follow and please share. If you're on the fence about liking them, just share. You never know who needs the information that we put out. And really, that's what we're here for at the end of the day. It's not a propaganda station. It's not even an agenda station for any particular thing, one way or the other. We talk a lot about health here. We talk about just about your lives in general, your family's existence. And so I try to make everything that we talk about something for someone. And we will go back into politics coming up into this next year. There's some events coming up I'll probably be attending like I used to do the last few years. I have taken a little bit of a break in between the cycles, just probably for my own sanity too. And there's just so much going on in the world that you can't always just be one directional. You sometimes have to open up your eyes, and whether that is on the other side or whether it is just another issue that you've never looked at before or another opinion that you haven't heard about and you give thought to, then maybe you can learn something and help others. So share away, if nothing else. And let's just try to make our world a better place. I keep saying that. That is the bottom line, actually, is making the world a better place for us all forever, that we're here for, which is not forever, but it's a long time. I do want to thank you guys for hanging in there today. We did have some technical difficulties, abnormally so, but thank God I've got Robert Johnson with JData in the back. JData17 at Facebook and X. You can find him online. You can follow him. You can hear what's happening in your communities. He's got Arizona live data. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, but he also has San Diego live data, California live data, a lot of other states' live data. He works with other podcasters in those communities to bring you live, uncut coverage from your local government organizations and your utilities, your school boards and such, so you can hear what's happening versus the 6 o'clock news where you get the 2-minute snippet and really have no context for a story whatsoever, or even heard what was going on in the meetings. If you can't make the meetings, try to find somewhere online like these live broadcast stations through JData17, through JData Live, so that you can know what's going on in your communities. And then if you do want to get involved, which of course I encourage you to get involved, to get educated so that you can help one another make your area the best it can be going forward, that would be a great place to start, is hearing what's happening locally. And if you do want to learn more today about today's guest, Billy Harfosh, you can obviously find him, I said many times, at Billy Harfosh on all the stations. Check him out. His interviews are stellar. You're not going to see them anywhere else. Certainly with Joe Exotic as a perfect example of that. He was a big sensation, and we didn't hear from him. He went to jail, and with the extenuating circumstances in many cases that do happen, it's nice to know that somebody is paying attention on all the levels and not just the most popular levels, right? Which are fun, but maybe not as much substance. And if you do like me, follow me, share at Patriot_Mom007, you guys. We are so glad you were here today. Don't forget, elections are around the corner. Of course, you have a vote. We really highly recommend you use it, because you can't make changes or complain if you don't get involved. But do vote your conscience. Pay attention to those leaders who are either absent, not willing to talk to anybody in a real way, right? Person to person sometimes, without scripts or cuts or edits. And realize the ones who are pro-crime, they're probably the ones you don't want to vote in the next election cycle. And that you should let your neighbors know about too, because it takes a community to make a community great. And that whether that is at your local level with your neighbors or your family, whether it is at your county level or your state level, we all have to work together, because if we don't, we can see from other states what happens and how things fall apart for the general population, the small business owners, our children who are victimized every day, women who are victimized, also elderly. And we want to put a stop to that really as soon as possible. So get involved for everybody's benefit, including your own. And next week, surprise guest. So we're going to see that as the week unfolds. Sometimes surprise is fun. So next week will be 1st of September. By the way, this is our 50th show today. Yay, Robert and Noél, for hanging in there for 50 of these. Wow, it's gone by so fast, Robert, hasn't it? I have him in my ear, and so I just want to did you know it was our 50th show, Robert? So he knew it was our 50th show, but just want to acknowledge that. And so you guys have a great weekend. We always look forward to seeing you here every Friday at noon Pacific Mountain Standard, 3 o'clock Eastern, for American Perspective with your host, Noél Roberts, Patriot Mom 007 around town. Some people don't know my first name. I've not used it for 3 years, but it is Noél Roberts. And we really appreciate any time you give us, because we know how valuable it is for you and your families. And we look forward to having you back next weekend on American Perspective.